All right, I'm going to work through the digits FRQ. It's from 2017. So pause it and read this through. I'm going to assume you've read it. So we're going to just work on two methods in this class called digits. And what happens is there's an internal private array list of digits. And when you create a digits object, you send over a number. And they give you examples here. Like if you send over 15704, it's going to add those digits to an array list in this order, so that the one at index 0 would be the 1, and the one at index 1 would be 5, basically from left to right. And if it's, if it's just a 0, then you just have a 0. And the number will be 0 or positive. It won't be negative. It says that right here, precondition number greater than or equal to 0. So let's go ahead and try to write this. It says public digits. This is the constructor, int num. Okay, so we're send over this number. The first thing you have to do is create the rest of the array list. Notice right here in the class, it says private array list, integer, digit list. So right here, we have to do the other side of it, which is digit list equals new array list integer. Almost. So what's up with that is you always have to have this side over here, private array list integer, and then a name. But then the equal sign on the right-hand side, that has to happen in the constructor. So this is most likely will show up on the AP test, and it'll be in a problem like this, like you're writing the constructor, or you have to write your whole class. And so you want to remember to do this. You don't have to do that with primitive variables. Like if it was just private int ID number, then inside the constructor, you just say ID number equals whatever. I mean, I guess in a way you are doing it when you put something in it, but it just seems a little more complicated here, but that's just how it works with array lists. Okay, so then the way I would do this is I'd say while num is greater than 10, we're gonna grab the digits one at a time in here, and then when it's less than 10, that means it's a single digit number. Then we're just gonna add the final digit. And so let me show you. If we do digit list dot add, now to get the far right digit of a number, we can do num modulo 10. And then to lop off that digit, we can say num equals num divided by 10. Remember, we're doing integer math, so every time you divide by 10, that just takes away the far right digit. And when we do modulo 10, it just gets you the far right digit. So this is adding the far right digit and then deleting the far right digit. So we're going to do that over and over again until the number is less than 10. And then at that point, we just want to add what's left over as the last digit. Now, this is in a way almost perfect, and in a way it's totally wrong. So let me give you the example. If we did their example 15704, what this would be doing is it would add a 4 to the array list, and then a 0, and then a 7, and then a 5, and then a 1. So in other words, the numbers would be in exactly the wrong order. See how they want them to be 15704? Ours would be completely backwards in the code I just wrote. And the way to fix that is to add each one. You can just put a 0 comma right here, and that adds it at index 0 instead of adding it at the end. So if we have this adding everything at 0, what it would do, it would do the 4, and then it would add the 0 in front, and then it would add the 7 in front, and so on, the 5 in front, and finally it would add the 1 in front, because it's adding it at index 0. So I imagine they put that twist in because they wanted to see that you knew how to add things to an array list. So that's it. That's a workable solution. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but that's how I did it. That's part A. And then let's take a look at part B. If you haven't tried it yet, you should try it. Read it and see what it says. But let's take a look. We're going to write a method that says whether or not a digit is strictly increasing. And it says it returns true if the elements of digit list appear in strictly increasing order, otherwise it returns false. It's considered strictly increasing if each element after the first is greater than but not equal to the preceding element. So they give us some examples. 1, 3, 5, 6 returns true. 7 returns true. But 1, 3, 3, 6 is false because see 3 and 3, those are not increasing. And then anything where the numbers go down, like here, that goes from a 5 to a 3, it says false. Okay, so let's go back here. You assume somebody's created a digits object and thrown a number into it, and it's all in this array list called digit list. So we're going to write public Boolean is strictly increasing. So assume somebody's already created this thing. They have to have in order to be able to call the method on this. What I'm going to do is just do a for loop and check that each one is bigger than the previous one. And if it ever isn't, I'm going to return false. And then if we get to the very end and we haven't returned false, then we're going to return true. So watch this. For int I equals 1. So we're going to start not at 0, but at 1. I less than digit list dot size I plus plus. So this for loop is going to go through the whole thing, but we're starting at item 1, and so we're going to check. We're going to check if I'm going to check for the negative case. If digit list get I, if it's less than or equal to digit list get I minus 1, that means a subsequent item is either equal to or less than a previous item, which is a situation where we want to return false. Return false. So I'll spread this out so we can see the whole thing. So we're basically saying, hey, if you ever get one that's less than or equal to the previous one, that means it's not strictly increasing. And if we made it all the way through the for loop, if it goes through all the items and never returns false, that means it's strictly increasing. So right here, we'd return true. Of course, there's other ways to do it, because you could start at 0 and end at less than size minus 1. And then you could be checking 1 against the next one. You do a plus 1 there in that case. But anyway, what I did is what I did. And there it is.